Hello everyone, Arkandy here. We're back for round 2 of the Decidueye event, and this time I'll show you some farming strategies suitable for group play. If you're looking forward to grinding this event, keep watching. First, the guaranteed one-turn KO strategy. I call it the Cheapskate Baxcalibur because this team is so cheap to build. As implied, in just about 10 seconds the Owl boss is donezo. This strategy is great to run together with a dedicated group. You have roughly up to 20 seconds to select your moves before the Decidueye resets stats and abilities. There is no backup plan, so make sure everyone knows what they need to do and no one's AFK. The nice thing about this strategy is that you don't need any crazy hard to obtain Pokemon. Only Baxcalibur needs to be trained while the rest of the squad can practically be level 1, except Magnemite, which needs at least level 24 to learn Screech. Now, if you don't have 4 players, that strategy is not gonna cut it. But I have 3 different strategies that you can use to suit your taste, and all of them work for groups of any size. The first strategy uses Miraidon, the Violet Box legendary. With 2 players, this strategy takes only 3 turns to guarantee the KO. Miraidon uses Charge, and the support Corviknight uses 2 Fake Tears and 1 Attack Cheer, then Electro Drift. Now, you might think the Arboliva NPC can be an issue. Think again. The easiest way to prevent Arboliva from cancelling electric terrain requires 2 things. First, Miraidon must host the raid. That way the NPCs only move when Miraidon does, so the support can freely set up. Second, Miraidon must wait until the stats and abilities reset to use Charge. With its ability disabled, Arboliva won't cancel the electric terrain. Once the setup is complete and you see the attack cheer roll in, that's your cue to destroy the owl. If you follow this strategy, it is completely RNG proof. If you had the support Corviknight hosting the raid, you would need extra setup turns to counter Arboliva, and that is something I do not recommend. Corviknight or Perrserker are my recommended teammates for being the most resilient supports for this raid. If you build the Perrserker from my solo strat, give it a Citrus Berry and Fake Tears, and that's all you need to run this strat safely. You can easily extend this strategy to 3 or 4 players by just adding more supports. Just keep in mind you need to use the attack cheer after the stats clear. Next, if for any reason you do not have access to Miraidon, you can instead use Iron Hands. The Iron Hands strategy is just as efficient as Miraidon's. Iron Hands is built to outspeed Decidueye, survive 1 hit after Belly Drum, and 2 1-hit KO. The setup requires 2 Screech, 1 Attack Cheer, Belly Drum, and Wild Charge. Very similar to Miraidon's. We're going to use Belly Drum, so we must wait for the stats reset. Another thing to keep in mind is that Screech is not 100% accurate, so the support runs Zoom Lens to ensure 100% accuracy. Notice how we have an Umbreon NPC. It could use Thunder Wave, cause paralysis, and interfere with Zoom Lens. To play around this, we have Iron Hands hosting the raid to prevent the NPCs from moving, and we wait for both the stats reset and the second Screech to come out before using Belly Drum. Belly Drum maximizes attack, so it also counters Feather Dance. Once you see the attack cheer, use Wild Charge and finish him. This happens to be the same Iron Hands build I have shared in the solo video and the community posts, but with an adamant nature instead of impish and holding a booster energy. Corviknight or Perrserker must be slower than Decidueye. A relaxed nature should do it. Just like the Miraidon strat, this can be extended to 3 or 4 players by adding supports. Once again, keep in mind you still need to use the attack cheer after the stats clear. The last 2-player strategy I have to show you is the backup to the backup. If you do not have Miraidon nor Iron Hands, surely you got a Cetitan with its hidden ability Sheer Force. This strategy basically follows the same plan as the Iron Hands. 2 Screech, Attack Cheer, Belly Drum, and 1 hit KO with Ice Punch. But there's one extra thing to worry about. Cetitan cannot survive after Belly Drum without a defense cheer. So we wait until after the second Screech and the stats reset to use Protect. Protect lets you avoid damage, and because Cetitan is the host, the NPCs will move and use the defense cheer. From here you can safely Belly Drum into Ice Punch to guarantee the KO after the attack cheer. Even though the other strategies take 1 less turn, I still wanted to mention a 2-player method that's easily available for Scarlet players. This way you can easily swap hosts by using different strategies or building both Pokemon, as you can build your supports to be compatible in all the 2-player strategies I've showed. Thanks to this exact EV spread on Cetitan, this strategy is just barely possible. You can also extend this strat to 3 and 4 players, just make sure to have someone use a defense cheer so that Cetitan can survive the belly drum turn. Remember to only cheer after the stats clear. There's one last thing I want to mention in regards to grinding this raid, and that's soloing with Miraidon. I've built my Miraidon so that it can tank 4 hits from Decidueye as long as they're not critical hits, and still guarantees the 1-hit KO with a 5-turn setup. That means you can do this raid with any NPCs except Arboliva, though having helpful NPCs definitely raises your chances, such as Intimidators, Will-O-Wisp or Paralysis. First we use Metal Sound. If Metal Sound fails, you can try to brute force your way through, or you can run away and reset if Decidueye didn't use Spirit Shackle. If you get hit by Spirit Shackle, you won't be able to run away from the raid, which is normally possible when you go solo. Next is Charge. You can try to fit it in before the stats reset, but it won't always be possible, and that's okay. To make this strategy work, you need to be really fast selecting your moves. After Charge, use Calm Mind, and after Calm Mind, use Attack Cheer. That's 4 turns of setup, plus the Electro Drift KO after that. The NPCs in this raid didn't really help, so I wanted you to see what it's like to run this build with no support. You'll be at very low HP, but hanging in there, as long as no critical hits happen. Also, you'll notice every little thing eating away at your timer. Waiting for NPC ability messages, waiting for NPCs to respawn, additional effects from moves like Spirit Shackle, etc. All in all, for this skill to work without support, Metal Sound has to not miss, and you have to not take any critical hits. This is roughly 72% of the time. And you have to input your turns really fast, that's the most important thing. You can raise your chances by locking in good NPCs, and then you'll be closer to 85% success rate, with Metal Sound being the biggest issue. So you may be wondering, how do we lock in NPCs? All you have to do is hit challenge as a group. If you find a promising team, go through with the raid. Doesn't matter if you win or lose, just that you go through with it. Once you got your team, the next time you challenge alone, you'll always get that same team, until you challenge as a group again to lock another team or reset the game. If you get Belly Bolt, it deals a lot of damage, so you may be able to skip the Calm Mind turn and use Electro Drift 1 turn earlier. The other NPC's damage may contribute a bit as well. If you lock in such a team, it may be a good idea to switch back to a modest nature, otherwise you may have to watch an entire minute of animations before the Decidueye decides to faint if your damage roll was too low. Since there is even more RNG involved in what specific combinations of NPCs can achieve and what actions they'll take, that is something I do not wish to get into. I'll leave it up to you to figure out how to best play around the NPCs you get. Also, this Miraidon is compatible with the 2-player strat I mentioned earlier. That's it for this video, and all I have to share about the 7-star Decidueye. Whether you choose to go hard on the weekend or keep grinding offline after the event is over, I hope this video met your expectations. Thanks for watching, enjoy the second weekend of grinding, and I'll see you on the next event.